Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we are discussing a watch that undoubtedly looks familiar, and in fact, the Sinn 903 STBE combines threads of Sinn and Breitling history, as in the late 70s, as the original Willy Breitling-run family firm was reaching the end of its original run prior to the Schneider family takeover, Willy Breitling started selling off parts, patents, and equipment, and aviation watchmaker Helmut Sinn of Germany acquired at the very least a large cache of Breitling Navitimer components and began assembling Sinn-branded circular slide rule chronographs. Now, what happened from there is a matter of dispute, as there are several different tales, some favoring Sinn to the effect that he bought the parts, the patents, and the tooling, and some, from a Breitling perspective, claiming that he was operating as an unlicensed duplicator of the Breitling design. What I can tell you is that it appears the Sinn side of the story holds more water, as to this day, Sinn continues to make the reference 903, which combines a number of upgrades on the original Navitimer with the core features that made the Navitimer a landmark pilot's watch. So 41 millimeters in stainless steel, the 903 STBE is a 2015 launch that is more compact than most Breitling Navitimers. 41 millimeters in diameter by 14.7 millimeters thick by 48.1 millimeters lug-to-lug with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs, which means though it is vintage in its size and proportioning, the lug spacing is what really sets it apart as a modern watch, as it has a broad planted footing and a wide stance on the wrist. Now, I can recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters in circumference because, again, it's a 41, not the giant case sizes often used by Breitling. It won't fit underneath the tightest of sleeves, but you should be fine with a jacket. Taking a quick look at the hardware and the software, I am a bit surprised by how upscale this strap is. It feels like something you'd get on a dress watch. It's a sort of gradient blue, primarily cobalt, but fading to almost navy. It's substantially bolstered to add volume, and you can see in profile it's a sheer cut showing the layers of leather, and you're getting a lot of leather. There's a contrasting stitch, and I would expect on a pilot's watch you'd get calfskin, which is cheaper, but we are getting alligator here. Calfskin is used on the bottom as conventional on most watches, and then it's a brand new Sinn factory strap with no gouging or crimping. The buckle is simple, polished, and easily adjusted. It's exactly what you would expect on a sports watch. Taking a quick look at the case, it's mostly satin, which is frankly in good taste, with a few polished elements used to accent. You can see there's some minimal beveling of the lugs, and the case band is very similar to the Navitimer because, again, there's a lot of shared DNA here. The lug ends are squared off, and the mid case is thin, so all this is common to the Navitimer as well. The pump pushers are visible, and a big upgrade over the standard Navitimer, which is 30 meters water resistant. Here we have a Sinn screw-down crown that endows the watch with 100-meter water resistance. Now there is another difference right here, as there is a geared system, a little pinion that drives the circular slide rule. And so in order to move the circular slide rule scale, you turn clockwise or counterclockwise. This allows somewhat better precision in the moment than the conventional Breitling system, though it does take a little bit more time to align the necessary numerals. A quick note, although the bezel is knurled and may appear to be mobile, it's actually fixed. So a little bit unconventional and counterintuitive, but the way it works is unimpeachable. Taking a quick look, you can see the scale outboard. It is a logarithmic circular slide rule, so a logarithmic scale in circular form. It can be used mostly for multiplication and division, and while you can see certain units have been added to allow you to calculate rate of climb, ground speed, airspeed, fuel consumption, it can also be used to calculate any conventional sums, including, or I guess I should say, products or dividends, such as the tip at a restaurant, for example. And once you get good with it, you can actually calculate pretty quickly. Now, this watch is designed to evoke vintage watches, and you know that because it has Fotina. It's a handsome ecru lacquer that's used on the hands at center, and then there's a sort of Luminova hybrid material that's used in ecru coloration for the individual indices and the numerals. The dial is actually a lovely metallic blue, and it's quite subtle. It's almost like a metallic navy, as it's quite dark. There are sunken sub-registers with blackened hands for a high contrast, easy read, and then there is a date window between 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock. Something to note here, Although the movement is based on the architecture of the Valjoux 7750, it's a Sellita SW500, whereas a conventional 7753 with this balanced chronograph register layout will lose the quickset function. I'm actually quite happy to say, let me just make sure I'm not in the date change danger zone there. This version, the Sellita SW500, does actually have a conventional quickset, and you can see how I'm able to sweep through the date. That's not possible on this dial layout with a conventional ETA. Now, there's also a hacking or stop seconds function, so if you want to set the watch to a reference time, you can easily do so. Turn the watch over. I already promised you an ETA base. Well, ETA architectures, this is a Sellita SW500. Automatic winding with unidirectional action. It is a cam and lateral clutch chronograph with the best cam feel I have ever experienced. It feels like a column wheel. It beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It pivots on 27 joules, and it has a power reserve of 48 hours, which is the upper end of the range for 7750 based movements. Although mechanically finished, it is also handsomely so, and it is adjusted to a high grade, basically chronometer levels of timing precision when the movement arrives at Sinn. So this, in a lot of ways, is a fascinating watch and more intriguing than the Navitimer on several levels. It's also more wearable and a better value. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. And we're back with the Sinn 903 by night.